Welcome to my channel. I have begun a series that I call Today's Blessing. And what I'm trying to do is make things available to you that you may not be aware of that have to do with God and prophecy and the past and the present and the future. And I came across this video today by a man, it's about a man named Jonathan Cahn. I assume that's how you pronounce it, C-A-H-N. He has written several books, and his most recent book he talks about, and the title of this video is Discovering a Prophecy Connecting Israel and Our President. Now, he talks a lot about the past and about Jubilee years. I found it very inspiring, and I thought you might as well. And so I wanted to share it with you. It's 26 minutes long, so I'm not going to show you the whole thing. We're just gonna watch the first few minutes of it so you can get a taste of it. And of course, I'll put the link in the description so that it'll be available to you if you're interested in following up. I'm not trying to shove anything down anyone's throat. If you're not interested, you just turn it off. That's not my purpose at all. But I do want to celebrate the God that I love and that loves me. And I want to share him with you because I believe that if you get born again, it will change your life like it changed mine. And so that's my entire purpose. And if you're already born again, but you have doubts, you're unsure of yourself, or you don't feel like, or let's say you feel like you could have a better relationship with God than what you have now, then maybe these will help. That's why I'm doing them. So I thank you for coming to my channel. I thank you for watching these if you are watching them. And I hope that they have some benefit for you. So we're going to watch this. It's on the 700 Club. I don't necessarily watch any of these shows. When I feature a video, it's because I found the video, not because I'm following any particular person or group or organization.
The chief rabbi of Israel makes a visit to the White House. He sees Truman and he says, Harry Truman, President, you have been put in your mother's womb for such exact time as that. Wow. He said, that's why. And he opens the book and starts reading about Cyrus to him. And Truman says, was I used by God? And he says, yes. And Truman breaks down and cries in the Oval Office. This has held up from the days of Egypt to the United States of America. Like clockwork. Our God is real. One of the things is we're living in a time when the world is trying to dismiss God and say, oh, that's old. We can move on from that. That's one of the reasons I believe this is here, because no, God, your God is in charge. The God of the Bible is alive and well. The man who founded Israel, he's Theodor Herzl, and he actually made a prophecy, and he wrote down a prophecy, and he said, the whole world will know about Israel in 50 years, Jubilee, 50 years.
Every 50 years, remember.
And that's a different cycle, but when you look at the date that he wrote that, it comes out to the date that Israel was voted back into the world in this place, in New York here, was voted back into the world, prophetic event. And actually, when I looked at the resolution that brought Israel back in the world, the plan, and it has a date on it. It's September 3rd, which, by the way, is also the release of a book, which we didn't plan it. But September 3rd, not a plug. Nobody planned it. September 3rd, and when you look back, that was the date. When you look back 50 years when Herzl wrote the prophecy, it was September 3rd. Yeah. It was the exact day. It was 50 Jubilee to the day. But on that day, in this city here, where we are, they voted Israel back into existence.
The UN.
The UN voted Israel back into existence. But could there have been an appointed word for that day from God that was appointed from ages past to be read as the scrolls were opened all around the world? Well, the thing is, here's the thing. Amazing. First of all, the scroll, the word that was appointed, by the way, it was voted back on a Sabbath, Saturday. So that means it's the exact day of the reading of the word. And so they open up the scrolls, and you know what it is? This is about the return. This is Jewish people, the children of Jacob, returning to the land. What the appointed word they chanted was the return of Jacob from exile to the land. the father of Israel. And, you know, when the Jewish people came back, there was still a conflict. They divided, the UN divided the land between the Arabs and the Jews. They are brothers, you know. But
Jacob and Esau.
The appointed word was Jacob coming back and fearing Esau was going to kill him, which is Israel was preparing.
Yeah.
But then nobody knew the name of this nation because they had no name. There was no name for the Jews until just a few days before it came back in the next year, okay, 5 months later. Nobody knew it, but God did. That shouldn't surprise us. God did. The appointed word all over the world on the day Israel was voted with no name said, "You shall be called Israel."
Wow.
The first time Israel is mentioned in the Bible.
Yeah. We started 1867. We moved on to 1917. We're going every 50 years, right, with these jubilees. 1867, 1917. Now we are up to.
Well, this is the other one from Herzl. This is the other jubilee from Herzl, 50 years. So we're at the time of the birth of Israel, which is prophetic. Listen, Jesus cannot come again until Israel is back in the world. And the Bible said, you know, when I was an atheist, that blew me away. To just that God said it, he said everything he said is coming true. That Israel's in the world, every day you've got a sign from God, that your God is real. And so here, so there's something in that door called the Day of the Scrolls. Yeah. And here it is. You know, whenever God does something, he does it by his word first. Before he did the universe, his word. Before Israel they came to the land, they came to Sinai, got the word. Before they came back, the word's restored. And even before Israel came in the modern times, you have the word of prophecy around for 2,000 years before it happened in our lifetime. So the word always comes from, God always restores the word linked to the restoration of Israel. So now here's the thing. A little shepherd boy or a shepherd boy is following his goat. He ends up going into a cave, throws a rock in the cave, crashes pottery, looks in there. He finds these ancient scrolls that he brings the scrolls, brings it to a shop. And now what is this? This is the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, the Dead Sea Scrolls has the Bible in it. It's the oldest Bible in the world.
This is 1947.
This is 1947, which is crucial. Why? Yep. It just happens after 2,000 years. When? Why? Because Israel's coming back the next year. Yeah. The Word and then the nation. So he restores the word. So, and this is something, you know, people said, oh, the Bible was written late. Well, it went from the Middle Ages, that was the oldest, to the Dead Sea Scrolls. So God is upholding his word. And particularly the book of Isaiah, which is filled with prophecies about Israel coming back into the world. Yeah. But here's the thing. This one guy gets it. They give the scroll to this one guy who's a professor in Jerusalem named Eliezer Sukenik. He gets it and he starts opening up the scrolls on one. He brings it back to his apartment, opens up, and he can't believe what he's seeing. It's blowing him away. He never saw anything like it. He's opening it up and it's being revealed for the first time after 2,000 years. That same night, his son is running into his room, giving him news of something, and giving reports from the radio, because the night that the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Word of God, was now here restored, Isaiah, all that, on that same night, Israel was voted back into the world.
Wow.
Only God.
Only God.
I think that's enough that you can get a good taste of it. There's something I want to talk about, because if you watch this whole thing, you may have some questions. There are people that think that if God says something's going to happen and it happens, then that means that we don't have freedom of will. But I was listening to another person recently, and he said something that I felt was really profound. And that is that when Jesus Christ went to heaven, those who are born again have Christ in them. We who are born again are God's emissaries in the world. God cannot work in the world without us. Or he could, but he won't because, you know, God is perfect and he obeys his own laws. So in order for God to do something miraculous in the here and now, he has to have people who are born again who will work for him to do what he needs to have done. But the thing is, God is omniscient. He sees and knows everything. So he knows before you're even born what the course of your life will be. He doesn't determine that. You do. But he knows it because he's omniscient. So that may seem to some people like a distinction without a difference, but it's not. You are not foreordained for a particular purpose in life. You decide that by your own freedom of will. Now, God can work in you, and He can tell you what He wants you to do, and if you listen and you obey Him, then you will do the things that God wants you to do. But God doesn't just work with believers. For example, in the Old Testament, He had an ass prophesy. Think about that. An ass, not a human being. He doesn't need us. That's the way that He works, is through us. And He can perform amazing miracles through us. But the course of history is laid out in the Word through prophecy. And those prophecies tell us what is going to happen in the future and in our time. And this man has done a tremendous amount of research into those prophecies and has made those connections. He's figured out how this prophecy in Isaiah matches what's going on at this date and time. And he talks about all that, and it's absolutely fascinating, and I just thought that you might be blessed to watch it. As I say, it's about 27 minutes long, so you have to set aside a little time to watch it, but it's well worth it in my opinion. I hope that when I do these little daily blessings, I won't do them every day, but when I do them, I hope that they do bless you, and that they help you to strengthen your faith if you're born again. And that if you're not born again, maybe it will convince you that God is real. Because He is. I know that for a fact. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that He is real. And I know there's a lot of doubt and a lot of unbelief and disbelief in the world that we live in. But that doesn't matter to me, and it certainly doesn't matter to God. God is who God is, and He doesn't need anyone's affirmation to prove that He exists. But He can prove it to you personally if you ask Him to. And if He hasn't already done that, just ask Him to. Tell Him, God, I want something. I want you to do something in my life that will prove to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that you exist. And I guarantee you He will. And when He does, you're going to be blown away. So that's my prayer for you, for every person that watches this. I pray that these blessings that I put on my channel will help strengthen your faith if you're born again, and will help you come to faith if you're not. This is the Vietnam Era Vet, out.